The probability of launching missile and air strikes throughout the territory of Ukraine remains high. This is reported in the summary of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook. Last day, the Russian Federation launched another massive airstrike on the territory of Ukraine, using the Shahed attack UAVs. Almost all drones were destroyed by our defenders. However, there are victims among the civilian population. Private residential buildings, other civil and administrative infrastructure have been damaged. In total, during the past 24 hours, the enemy launched 64 airstrikes and 1 missile strike, carried out 88 attacks from MLRSs. The enemy continues to focus its main efforts on attempts to completely occupy the Luhansk and Donetsk regions. During the past day, units of the defense forces repelled 22 enemy attacks. The operational situation on the Volyn and Polishcha directions has not changed much. On the Seversk and Slobozansk directions, the enemy made an unsuccessful attempt to infiltrate a sabotage and reconnaissance group across the state border of Ukraine in the area of Zelene settlement of the Kharkiv region. The enemy also carried out an airstrike in the area of the village of Udy and carried out mortar and artillery attacks on the settlements of Krinivka, Karpovichy, Yenjulivka, Leonivka of the Chernihiv region, Saradina Buda, Fodovizh, Atinsk, Uroyedy, Vlika Pisarivka of the Sumy region. In the Kupiansk direction, the enemy conducted unsuccessful offensives west of Mashutivka of the Kharkiv region and in the direction of Novoselivsky of the Luhansk region. It carried out airstrikes in the districts of Kotlyarivka of the Kharkiv region and Stelmakivka of the Luhansk region. Kamyanka, Novomlinsk, Vorokna, Zapadna, Kyslivka, Kotlyarivka, and Berestov of the Kharkiv region were subjected to artillery and mortar attacks. In the Lyman direction, the enemy carried out offensive actions south of Kuzmin, without success. It carried out airstrikes in the areas of Bilohorivka, Luhansk region, and Yampolivka, Donetsk region. Nevsky, Bilohorivka, Luhansk region, and Spern, Donetsk region, were hit by artillery fire. During the past day, the enemy did not conduct offensive operations in the Bakhmut direction. It carried out an airstrike in the Vesel area and a missile strike in the New York area of the Donetsk region. Orikovo-Vasilivka, Bodanivka, Kromov, Ivanovsky, Bila Hora, Pivnikny, Zalians and New York of the Donetsk region suffered from enemy artillery shelling. In the Avdiivka direction, the enemy carried out offensive actions in the Severn direction, without success. Carried out airstrikes near Avdiivka. It carried out artillery fire on the settlements of Avdiivka, Orlivka, Pervomaysk, and Netilov of the Donetsk region. In the Mariinka direction, our defenders repelled all enemy attacks in the area of the city of Mariinka, as well as in the direction of the settlements of Pobeda and Novomikhailivka. The enemy carried out an airstrike within the Mariinka settlement. Georgivka and Pobeda of the Donetsk region were hit by artillery fire. On the Shakhtarsk direction, the enemy launched airstrikes in Vodian, Prekostivka, and Vlika Novosilka areas. It shelled the settlements of Vuhledar, Novokrainka, Prekostivka, Zolotaniva, and Shakhtarsk. The enemy continues to conduct defensive operations in the Zaporizhia and Kherson directions. It carried out an airstrike near Orikhiv of the Zaporizhia region. Shelled the settlements of Zelene Pol, Novopil, and Temirivka of the Donetsk region, Olhaivsky, Huliaipol, Malotokmichka, Novodanilivka, Orikhiv, Novoandriivka and Stepov of the Zaporizhia region, Sadov, Komyshany, Kizimys of the Kherson region, Kherson, as well as the city of Oshakiv of the Mykolaiv region. Over the past day, the aviation of the defense forces has carried out 11 strikes on areas where the enemy's personnel and military equipment are concentrated, as well as a strike on its anti-aircraft missile complex. During the past day, Ukrainian defenders destroyed 32 attack UAVs of the Shahed type. In addition, units of missile forces and artillery hit 3 control points, an area where the enemy's manpower was concentrated, 4 artillery units in a firing position, an anti-aircraft missile complex, 3 warehouses of fuel and lubricants, and a radio-electronic warfare station. As Ukrainian news agency earlier reported, the Russian military may be preparing a combined attack on Ukraine using drones and sea-based missiles. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported on June 1 that Russia had lost 208,370 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes 460 casualties Russian forces suffered just over the past day. Ukraine's defense forces repel 16 Russian assaults in Luhansk and Donetsk oblasts, General Staff report. Russian occupation forces are focusing their main efforts on attempting to establish full control over Luhansk and Donetsk oblasts in the east of Ukraine. Over the course of the day, Ukraine's defense forces repelled 16 Russian assaults there. Source: General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on Facebook. Information is of 1800 on the 31st of May. Quote from the General Staff: over the course of the day, enemy forces conducted 2 missile strikes and 22 airstrikes and deployed multiple launch rocket systems in around 20 attacks on positions of our troops and on civilian settlements. There is a high threat of missile strikes and airstrikes across all of Ukraine. Details: on the Kupiansk front, Russian forces conducted unsuccessful offensive operations to the west of Mashutivka, Kharkiv Oblast, and towards Novoselivsky and Stelmakivka, Luhansk Oblast. They conducted airstrikes in the vicinity of Kyslivka and Kotlyarivka, Kharkiv Oblast, and deployed mortars and artillery to fire on Krasny Persh, Fyholivka, Novomlinsk, Zapadna, Mashutivka, Kyslivka and Berestov, Kharkiv Oblast, and Novoselivsky, Luhansk Oblast. Russian forces also conducted unsuccessful offensive operations in the vicinity of Bilohorivka on the Lyman front. Russian aircraft struck areas in the vicinity of Terny and Seversk, Donetsk Oblast. Meanwhile, Russian troops shelled Nevsky and Bilohorivka, Luhansk Oblast, and Novosado, Torsky and Spern, Donetsk Oblast. Russian forces made attempts to advance on Orikovo-Vasilivka and Bilahora on the Bakhmut front but were unsuccessful. Kramatorsk, Vashukivka, Orikovo-Vasilivka, Novomarkov, Hurahorivka, Chasev Yar, Ivanovsky, Predtekine, Bilahora, Delivka, Zalians and New York Donetsk Oblast came under Russian fire. Russian forces did not make any attempts to advance on the Avdiivka front. Over the course of the day, Russian aircraft struck areas in and around Avdiivka, Donetsk Oblast. Russian forces also shelled Novokulinov, Orlivka, Avdiivka, Taneg, Severn, Netailov, Karlivka, Pervomaisk and Nevelsky, Donetsk Oblast. On the Marinka front, Ukraine's defense forces repelled all Russian assaults near the city of Marinka. Russian forces also conducted an airstrike on Marinka and shelled Kurakov, Maximilianivka, Hiorhivka, Marinka, Pobeda, Yelizavetivka, Katerinivka, Kostantinivka and Novomikhailivka, Donetsk Oblast. On the Shakhtarsk front, the Russians conducted airstrikes on areas in and around Vuhledar and Prekostivka and shelled Bowa-Avlenka, Vuhledar, Novokranka, Prekostivka, Zolotaniva, Shakhtarsk and Vlika Novosilka. Russian forces are on the defensive on the Zaporizhia and Kherson fronts, and shelled several frontline civilian settlements, including Vremivka, Vilnpol, Novosilka, Zelene Pol, Novopil and Temirivka, Donetsk Oblast, Olhaivsky, Malinivka, Huliaipol, Zaliznikny, Huliaipilsky, Malotokmichka, Novodanilivka, Novoandriivka and Stepov-Kamiansk, Zaporizhia Oblast, and Berislav, Kozatsky, Ivanivka, Antonivka, Komishany, Dniprovsky, Kizimys, Shiroka Balka and the city of Kherson, Kherson Oblast.